3 minutes of terror for passengers on an Asiana Airlines flight in South Korea today. Investigators, they're now honestly trying to figure out how it happened, how a man seemingly was able to open the aircraft door of this plane mid-flight. This was as the plane also was about to land. Watch. You can hear the wind just whipping through, ripping through the cabin. You can see the passengers there gripping their seats. Also just oddly silent, but understandably silent because of how terrifying you can imagine this is. An official for the airline said that a man in the exit row appeared to open the door while the plane was 700 feet in the air. One passenger also said that she believed the man was trying to get off the aircraft, and fellow passengers helped the crew pull him back from the opening. Let me bring in CNN aviation analyst Miles O'Brien for more on this. I mean, Miles, on several levels, this should not have happened and should not have been able to happen. What do you see here?
Well, Kate, the key thing to know is these doors are like stoppers in a bathtub. They're plug doors, they're called. And when the plane is pressurized at altitude, it is humanly impossible to pull them in and push them out. They are sealed tight like that stopper in the bathtub. But when you get lower and the pressure is equalized, which it would be at 700 feet, that possibility, it becomes a possibility for somebody to do this. So it happened. Fortunately, nobody got hurt, and it's really part of a string of cases of passengers that have been trying to monkey around with these doors.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, and to your point, I think they said that there were 200 people on board. 12 people, they suffered, how it's described as minor injuries like hyperventilation. Are you surprised? Is it surprising that this wasn't worse considering the details that you're learning now about where they were when this was?
I think the pilots had certainly a distraction on short final as they were about to land. All kinds of warning signs would have been indicated on that flight deck. So the fact that they landed it uneventfully, hat tip to the crew, and frankly, hat tip to the passengers on board who saw a problem and neutralized it, tackled them. It's good to see that, actually.
So to put a fine point on what you're talking about, this was about 2 to 3 minutes from landing. They're about 700 feet above the ground when the door was opened. If they were at higher altitude, this would not have been possible. This wasn't a mechanical error, you don't think, in your mind. This was just sheer physics that this was possible to happen.
Whether that person knew that and waited to be that low, I cannot say, of course, but sheer physics will, I want this to be the takeaway for everybody as they're flying. This can't happen once the aircraft is pressurized, because as it is pressurized at altitude, it pushes those doors in like a plug, and you can't pull them open no matter how hard you try. So that's the good news there. This incident happened when the pressure was equalized, so you could open the door. So I guess that boils down to passengers being very attentive of their fellow passengers, which it looks like is what happened here.
Absolutely. Comforting hearing you're saying, and also terrifying still seeing this video of what these passengers were experiencing in the last 3 minutes of their flight, for sure. It's great to see you, Miles. Thank you very much for coming in.
CNN's Tom Foreman joins me now. So, Tom, one, I didn't know this was possible. Experts say it shouldn't have been possible. Saying all that, how did this happen?
It's not supposed to be possible. The simple truth is, when a plane is flying, the pressure inside the plane and the fact the doors are locked are supposed to make it impossible for you to open that door. The door would be so heavy it would be like trying to lift a car to open it in full flight. But you mentioned a key thing there, Rahel. This plane was only about 700 feet above the ground, according to authorities, when this happened. It was only 2 or 3 minutes away from actually touching down. So arguably, at that altitude, the pressure, well, not arguably, factually, at that altitude, the pressure is much, 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 much lower, really about the same pressure you'd have at the top of a 60-story building. So no real pressure at all. Still, real questions about how he got it opened here, especially considering that there's also a landing speed issue. You'd be going about 170, 172 miles an hour when you're landing at this. That also could have posed a problem. Nonetheless, Passengers say this guy jumped up, started yanking at the door, trying to get it open in some fashion. Flight attendants started yelling, "Help, help," and about 10 people rushed forward and they pulled him back down, and then they had a very breezy landing from that point on.
I mean, so many questions. Tom, what do we know about the passengers who were aboard this flight? What were the extent of injuries, if at all?
Nobody seems to have been seriously injured. There were like a dozen people who suffered sort of hyperventilation. Some people may hyperventilate just hearing about this story. And this has been tried before. This is not the first incident where people have tried to open an airplane door in flight. But guaranteed in this case, there will be a lot of looks at the construction of this plane and why, even at a low altitude, he was able to get the door open. It's supposed to be impossible, like the Celtics winning the NBA championship. So we'll have to see what happens.
It's supposed to be. Tom Foreman, thank you, my friend.